What's up, everybody? Peace and blessings to you from Zakopane. I was finally able to string together a couple little clips to put together something from a homily at the Chapel of Victorious Love right near Auschwitz. So we've been praying for you every step of the way, and I hope something from here will be a blessing to you and will touch your heart, for you, for your family, for your friends, wherever you're at, whatever you're going through. Peace and love. We've been praying for you.
Well, to be here so close to Auschwitz, and to be here in this chapel dedicated to the victory of love, it is a great blessing. And for us, this falls on the 29th Sunday of Ordinary Time, and it comes to us on the day number 3 of this 5th annual JPII Paul and Rome study pilgrimage. And the readings for the day, especially Exodus chapter 17, where we have the images which gives us a way to see and to re-see and to move through the horror of war. There's war, Amalek and Israel, and then there's battle, the battle of prayer, as the church refers to it in the Catechism. Because prayer helps, help comes from God, God helps man, man helps man. Moses gets tired, needs the assistance to have the simplicity of his arms sustained in the air. Because the simple act of a man sustaining his arms in the air, exercising the power of faith, is effecting an influence upon those who are fighting the battle. And when the battle within Moses himself, who is assisting those who are on the battlefield, becomes to be fatigued, then he seeks the assistance, he receives the assistance, and he's given a place to sit down in order that he can sustain his hands in the air a little more readily. And then the brothers actually come and they actually use their hands to sustain his hands, to make a difference in the hands of those who have weapons and are striking out violently to exterminate others in the battle and the combat of war. And this raises lots of questions. We were asking very important questions, very difficult questions were being risen. But what level, at what point do we cooperate? Do people who were incarcerated and condemned to death in these camps, raising questions about their level of cooperation? What's going on with that evil? Very important question, very big question, more mysterious question. But the ultimate question is, can we love? John Paul was even asked one time, is love possible? And John Paul was even asked, did Maximilian know how his life was going to end? And John Paul said, I don't know if you know. But John Paul said, one thing I am certain of is that he prepared for it. He never stopped preparing for it. And the non-stopping of the preparation was a direct connect with the non-stopping of the flow of the prayer, which flows from the necessity of Jesus raising up this parable in the Gospel in chapter 18, telling his disciples about the parable, about the necessity for them to pray always without becoming weary, because you get tired. We get tired, we get sick and tired, but the prayer, in the midst of the fatigue, in spite of the fatigue, and even in the face and the threat, and in the encounter of death itself, we go on. The prayer goes on. The spirit of Maximilian goes on. The preparation for Maximilian's heart, which was trained in giving itself, is rooted and steeped in this faith, which gives rise to the victory at that time. When Wojtyła was elected Pope, until he went back to the Father's house on April 2nd, 9:37 p.m., 2005, he beatified 1,338 blessings. He canonized 482 saints within the 26-year, 5-month, and 17-day pontificate that he exercised. Probably, as he's proving, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, pontificate in the church after that of Peter. And John Paul had this unshaken confidence in the assurance of the victory of love. And this is what was stirring in the heart of Maximilian. This worked in his heart, in preparing his heart, in training his heart, in forming his heart, in reforming his heart, and continually informing his heart as he prayed to learn to give itself. This unshaken assurance in the victory of love was also manifested in him. A good friend of mine, her name is Evelyn Underhill, she says that love is always an energy, and the greater the love, the greater the power. 3 days before Pope Paul VI beatified and presided over the beatification over Maximilian Mary, on October 13th, Fatima Day, Wojtyła was giving a radio interview, and in referring to Maximilian during this radio interview, he said, Maximilian not only saved 1 man out of 10, but he showed the other 9 how to die. His act of heroism had made human life more human in a place of supreme inhumanity. Then on June 2nd, 1979, when the great JPII was in Poland, he said, Christ wishes that I, who have become the successor of Peter, should give witness before the world to what constitutes the greatness and the misery of contemporary man, to what is his defeat and to what is his victory. And with regard to this defeat, there's another student of Wojtyła. He's Italian, he's fluent in German, fluent in Polish, studied philosophy under Wojtyła in Lublin. His name is Rocco Potugliani. And what a beauty! He wrote the book, Karol Wojtyła, The Thought of the Man Who Became Pope John Paul II. And when he was talking about Auschwitz, he really captures some of Wojtyła's thought about this. And he says that Auschwitz is the symbol of a humiliation of man which under different forms does not cease to repeat itself in our times. As I mentioned, tragically, through our lack of charity, through our fear of being so loved by a love that would cause us to learn love from love itself, and to love with the very same love which loves us. That's what Maximilian did. That's what all the martyrs did. That's what all the saints did. And that's what you and I have to do. And this evil, Rocco continues, draws its force from a profound spiritual deviation, which one needs to understand at its root if one wishes to put an end to the barbarity. Auschwitz is a place conducted for the destruction of man, for the annihilation of his dignity. And Thaddeus Stetchen, John Paul's other close friend and student, said that in Auschwitz, the greatness of man is reversed. Because the greatest love, and the fact that man can love greatly because man has been greatly loved, is for man to give himself. And the opposite of that begins by not giving, by not loving, and then lust